Welcome, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Hello,
So,
everybody.
so I just got something to drink for the podcast, and I opened my cabinet because I had some of those, like Crystal Light lemonade.
Yeah, those used to be the shit. Probably 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15
Well,
years ago.
whatever. I bought some, but I got the individual packets. So, like, you fill up a cup with water, and then you put in the individual packet, and then you stir it, and so you could, like, basically cup by cup, you make your own lemonade.
Yeah.
And so I went in there to take it out. And I had yogurt in the cabinet that was supposed to be refrigerated. And the last time I ate it, like 3 or 4 days ago, I put it in the cabinet.
Was it one you already started eating, or
Yes,
you were just grabbing something and you put it in the cabinet?
I'm such an airhead, and I don't think that like I took the yogurt out of the refrigerator. It's like one of those bigger yogurt things. So like you scoop it out to put it into like a dish or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah, yeah,
bowl, and then I ate that. And then instead of putting the yogurt back into the refrigerator, I put it into the cabinet without even realizing it.
God damn! What did it look like? What did it smell like? What? Tell
I
me about it.
thankfully it was covered, so and I didn't smell anything when I took it out, but I was like, "Damn, that's gross as hell."
You kind of got blessed because there was potential for there to be like some bugs in there, some like
It was
yogurt
covered.
in
It was
general.
covered,
No, but
thankfully.
I don't give a fuck. I mean, like,
Uh,
like there's still stank that needs to be coming out of that shit. Like, it can't all be contained. Like, if you, I don't know, if you like fart into a jar and then open it up, it'll smell, but it won't smell if you cover it up really good. You know?
Wait, so if somebody farts into a jar and then
Yeah.
they
How long
leave
do you
it,
think that smell could like
that's what I
stay
was
there?
gonna ask you is, and then they leave it for let's say like 3 weeks, and then you go to open the jar, are you gonna smell anything,
I
or is it
think
like?
so. I think so.
But I see. I would guess that it would like slow over the time. It slowly would have like seeped out somehow, so that when you open it, you don't smell anything.
I don't know because it's like if you burp and then you hold your breath and like don't let any air out, all of that smell and stuff stays there until you like blow it in someone's face mad disrespectfully.
But if you burp and you could somehow, I mean, you got to breathe, so it's like you can't do this, you can't test this. But if somebody could burp and then not breathe it out for like 2 weeks, would the burp just like dissipate and just go away?
I mean, it's like blowing up a balloon. If you tie it real tight, that shit'll stay in your like living room for mad long.
Yeah, but you're sort of making my point actually, because with a balloon, you can't tie it tight enough. Over time, over enough time, it just slowly loses all the air to the point where
I've had balloons in my crib that have stayed there for mad long, and if they've gone
really
up to the ceiling or something, they just stay there for mad long.
every balloon.
Well, that's also because there's helium. It's helium, so maybe that's different than air.
Maybe that's a good point. That's a good point.
Because if sometimes you blow up a balloon with helium,
Yes, I know.
that shit could stay for a hot minute.
You sort of hit me with some Bill Nye the Science Guy stuff right there.
That's why I'm here. That's why Yo, helium used to be the shit back in the day. I never really like did it as much like as like I probably should have. But like when the old toy stores used to have like that big ass like helium thing, like the tank, and they fill up the balloons.
I used to do the voice thing where you'd
Yeah,
suck
the
it and
voice
be,
thing is like
"Hello, how's everybody doing today?"
yeah, it's sort of one of those things that never goes it never goes out of style. Like you can
It's
do
always
that
gonna be
forever.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like we were just talking. That's kind of like a fart, where like you could be a grown ass man, but in the right circumstance, it's just hilarious to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's the
It,
same thing. Like if I were to come over to your house and then suck in the helium and you didn't realize I did it, and then you open the door and I'm like, "What's up, dog?"
that's day
You-
one for like what you learn in like magician school is the helium shit. Because every time a magician does it, it's still fine. Like you're still okay with it. Whereas like you would probably get mad. It's like when like the Harlem Globetrotters come through and they spin the basketball on their finger. Like you would think that would get old too, but it doesn't. There's some things that just don't get old. That like it's just like we need that in society to keep functioning. Like we need helium in balloons, and we need the Harlem Globetrotters to be spinning like a ball on their finger. That's
you You had me dying when you said that's what you learned day one of magician school. Because I was like, I was like, how does he know what you learned on day one of magician school? Did he go to magician school?
That shit, and then also when you continuously pull the handkerchief out of your pocket. That like that, and what else is day one magic school shit?
Rabbit out of a hat.
That I feel like they save that until like at least the first week or second week.
You think so?
That comes a little later in magic school. But I got mad respect for magicians. Mad respect. I sort of love magicians. It's like I interviewed a magician, and it's like a field that it's like how do you like wrap your brain around committing to like a profession that you don't necessarily know is going to work out or not? You know, like it takes some balls to commit to like being a magician, because it's like you're going to get written off if you go to college and you say to a professor like, oh, what do you want to be when you're older? You're like, a magician. They'll definitely laugh. But like, it's a real profession. Like we need magicians out there.
That's well, what I was going to say is it's kind of like when people went to trade school, there would be this feeling of like, oh, like what are they doing? Is there something wrong with them? But no, it's actually mad smart. If you go to a trade school and you learn how to be like a carpenter or a plumber or a mechanic from a young age, then you're going to have a profession when you get older.
Yeah, but
and like people getting a communications degree, it's a lot harder when you get a communications degree to find a job. You know what I mean? So like if somebody is a magician and they go to magician school, like, yeah, they're kids who need birthday parties all over the place. So, and you could, I don't know how much they charge, but probably like 250 banjos for
probably making mad bread at a birthday party.
Yeah, so $250 for like 2 hours of entertaining them, and then you just go from one place to another place. Magician is kind of the move. I'm thinking I should have became a magician.
Well, there's trade schools for jobs that like are looked down upon in society's eyes, like, you know, whatever, mechanics or, you know, barbers or something.
Yeah, they shouldn't be.
No, 100% they shouldn't be. But then I feel like there's a lower tier to that shit where it's just probably like some magician, some like fucking like donkey trainer or some shit like that. Just like weird professions that there's probably not a lot of people in that field, but someone's got to do those jobs. So shout out to all the people that are doing like, you know, those type of jobs.
You actually like, I agree with you on magicians now to the point where I sort of respect them on another level, because you're right that they had to like commit to doing it, but also it's something that people would semi-judge you about, but they still committed to doing it and they're doing their thing. And that makes me like them. The fact that they were like, I don't really care that society's going to look at me a certain way. Like, I want to be a magician.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that's what's up, man. Like, yeah, props.
Shout out to the good magicians. But then I think I saw on like one of those scary TV shows on like NBC or something. There was like these gangs would like have like these inflatable rides and games that they would bring around to birthday parties, but it was low key just like an undercover, like really scary, deadly gang. But they'd be providing like a slip and slide for your birthday. And like this NBC thing was undercover, like, look at the truck on here. It looks like a friendly birthday party, but the driver is a known gang member from the blah, 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 blah. And he's killed 50, like, but on the flip side, he's having mad fun bringing a slip inside to a birthday party.
But the funny thing is, like, all organized crime has stuff like that, because they have
like a front.
Yes, because if they're organized crime, that means part of doing that is to money launder. You have to make the money look clean. So how do you make the money look clean? You set up all these businesses that at face value look like legitimate businesses. So it's the same reason why a lot of, you know, like Italian mobsters own like pizzerias, because, you know, that's how they pretend they earn their money. It's like, yeah, I have 5 pizzerias. That's how I earn my money. The pizzerias aren't making Dickie McGee's acts in terms of money, but you can make it look like that because you take all your gang money and you just launder it through your legitimate businesses. So that guy was doing the slip and slide thing or whatever. And what's his face? Remember on Breaking Bad? Didn't he have like a laundromat? No, car wash. Car wash on Breaking Bad. Yeah. Like they always, and that's the thing. Remember, we've talked about this before, but there's this place on Central Avenue.
The pizza shop?
What'd you say? Treadmill store? That's what I'm thinking.
No, that one, I don't know how that operates, but then right, there's a pizza place right down the block.
I wasn't talking about that. I know that we know the person who owns it and is probably mobbed up, but OD, definitely. But I was thinking of the treadmill store because it's this big storefront and all they sell in the store is treadmills and it's been in business since like 1980 something.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Because whoever's involved in that place is probably OD laundering money.
That's what I mean. We've said this before, but about like mattress firms and all that stuff, like anything that's so successful like that, that has like is able to pay rent on those big ass buildings for, and you look and no one's ever shopping in those shits,
He's ever shopping.
ever shopping in those shits. And like the Halloween stores that come through, the Christmas shop stores that come through, I don't know how they do it, man, because like people try hard to get like storefront and like pay their rent over a long period of time, and for them to just sustain that shit for mad long, not have any customers in their shit, do no autograph signings or anything, like bring in the 1-800 pillow guy or something like that and get some people in there. They're not doing that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm very excited to talk about the fact that Corin is getting into golf, everybody.
I have one more beef with your yogurt.
Oh, okay. Hit me with the yogurt issue.
Yogurt in general it could be way better than it is, but it's kind of suspect that when you always open it up, there's just that layer of like water sitting there.
Totally agree.
Mix it up first.
Totally agree.
So it's like it hits you with some like, this shit is disgusting, but then you got to get past the like mixing it up and like pureeing that bitch before you can actually enjoy it.
That part of it always disgusts me when I open it up and I see the water and I'm like, why am I even having this stuff? This is terrible. Yep. But then what I do is, like you say, I like, mix it up to make it normal again. And then I take, there's this Keto Granola, which is tasty as hell, which I add onto it. It's like cinnamony and stuff. It's got a good taste to it. And the other thing I do, Core, is I hate the plain Greek yogurt. I can't stand the taste of it. So I always get the vanilla. Yeah, and I know that there's more sugar in the vanilla, but it's still tasty as hell. So I just go with the vanilla. But yeah, I totally concede on that point. I think it's disgusting when I open up the yogurt and I see that.
So hold on, wait. I just want to get. Did you open it up to see what it looked like, or you just threw it right out?
No, I didn't. It's first of all, it's sitting on the counter right now, but I will throw it right out. Yeah, I'm gonna throw it out for sure.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised. Yeah, that's bold of you to not even look inside, because I'd be a little tempted to at least peep like what happened, like what science went on inside of that yogurt can.
I literally don't want to know. Like if I open it up and see any green stuff, I'm gonna lose it.
And you refrigerate yogurt right from the bat, right? Because there's stuff like people who keep their ketchup in the cabinet and don't put it in their fridge. Fuck them. And then the same thing with peanut butter. Peanut butter goes in your fridge.
Okay, so here's my thing. I refrigerate.
I didn't hear what you refrigerated at all.
Yeah, I said I refrigerate everything, and then I realized that we were frozen there. But I put everything in the fridge, even peanut butter. You know how you could keep that out? I put it in. Even when I first get it, I don't even like wait to then put it in. I just put it right in.
That's kind of a hot take, because I think I'll let it sit in my cabinet for a little bit just because I want to like extend its shelf life, and then once I dig into it, then it goes in my fridge. But I wonder if that relates to like why you like a cold room, if that has to like somehow line up with food or something like that.
You gotta understand, I'm a giant contradiction though, because I like a cold house, cold room, but I like it to be hot outside. If you tell me, Kyle, 90 degrees or 40, I'm going 90 every time.
Yeah, but you don't spend you don't spend your whole, like you spend more time inside than you do outside. So it's more of like a treat when you go outside. So it's a temporary thing, whereas like your permanent shit is something that we could judge you on more.
Yeah, but if you tell me you have to either be outside all day and it's 40 degrees, or I'll even say 45 degrees, or you have to be outside all day and it's 90, I'm going 90.
No, but if I said if you had to be outside and it was 90 degrees all the time, or you had to be outside all the time, and it was like 67 degrees.
Well, 67, of course, but 67 is like the ideal temperature.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know, but that's what you like in your house. So that's...
I like it cold in the house. Yeah, I do. And as I've explained before, I need a fan on at night because I need to feel like the air is like moving. I hate the feeling of
I
like
love fan on.
stagnant air when you go to sleep at night, where like nothing's. It's just like it makes me feel almost like claustrophobic a little bit.
Yep.
I'm almost like, damn, like I know I could breathe, but I semi want to think I can't breathe right now.
Yes.
And then I put on the fan, and I'm like, oh, thank God, now I feel good.
Yeah, there's nothing better than like cross ventilation in windows. Like if you could open up a window right next to you,
Yeah.
and then the science between like a window that's like on the other side of the room, and just that breeze sort of like fighting through you is such a good. It's the same shit in your car. Like if I roll down my front window, someone else has to bless me and roll down their window a little bit. Like you can't let me be on an island with just my window open. Some other shit's got to be open so that breeze is smacking real nice between us.
But you're going to get at me for this one, and other people are going to get at me for this one too. But I will defend to the death bumping the AC and having two windows down.
I'm kind of lately with you on that because I've been doing it recently. but I don't want to waste my gas, and I feel like that shit OD is a gas guzzler for whatever reason. I don't know if that's a myth or not, but...
No, it definitely wastes gas. That's why I was going to say everybody's going to come after me because they're going to say that's like wasteful as hell. But I like it. I love it so much.
How does that even line up to your gas, like your air conditioner?
I don't know.
Like it doesn't even... Whoever started that rumor, that myth or whatever, fuck them too. Like you can't... Gas has nothing to do with air conditioner. Like air is air and gas is gas. Like your shit runs on gas. Just because you put gas in your car doesn't mean that your AC is going to work better or not. Like your AC could work perfectly fine with no gas, I feel like.
Well, my whole life, whenever, like if I was on E for a hot minute and I had to get somewhere, I would not turn on the AC because I was like, then I'm going to waste my gas that way.
You know what also we thought would waste the gas?
What?
The radio.
No, I never said that shit.
I think I would assume that. Well, I would just always lower the radio or turn the power off to the radio when my gas was OD low because I would be like, this shit is somehow connected.
I assumed the battery was taking care of the radio, the battery in the car, and I thought the gas was taking care of the AC. But I don't know. I'm just an idiot. Like I've never actually researched any of this.
Yeah, because no one who would even take the time to care or think like if your AC. I always think when you put when my car is idling, when I'm waiting at like the supermarket or something, if Molly runs inside, that my gas goes down mad quick when my car is just sitting there. Which in theory shouldn't decrease your gas tank, but it does, which is why
I guess
gas is a fucking scam.
Yeah, but somebody should test it. How are you burning more gas? Sitting in there with the car idling or turning it off and then turning it back on? Because the whole process of turning it back on, aren't you using gas in that process too? So it's like, which is it? Which is the one that's preferable? Which uses less gas?
Yeah, that's why I don't like the whole... I'm not a fan, and I don't think this theory works of the whole start your engine, stop your engine, automatic shit with the cars. Because I think that can only increase any problems that happens with your car. Like for me, it would be let your car just keep running. And if it starts, it's good money. But the chances of something going wrong are higher if you stop at a red light and you've got the automatic start-stop thing and your engine shuts off. I don't know why that became a thing.
They would have to test that to see which thing is better because I definitely don't know off the top of my head. But
wouldn't you think in theory just that doesn't make sense? Like why does your engine shut off at a red light?
Well, it's just a process to turn it off and turn it back on at a red light. You know what I'm saying?
It does it. There's cars that do it automatically.
Is it like the new electric ones that do that?
Not even new. That's just been around for a minute. You'll get to a red light. I think my mom's, she got a BMW. It's at a red light. It'd be like, and then the light's green and it's like, and then it goes again. You never saw that?
I would have assumed that if you turn it off and turn it back on at a light, that's worse for it than just letting it idle for 30 seconds or whatever it is.
Yeah. I don't know why why that became a thing with cars.
Yeah, that's very strange, and I care not enough to research it further.
Did you
Like
see
I
the
don't
whole controversy of like people wearing seatbelts but not wearing a mask?
people
Or like,
wearing seatbelts but not wearing masks.
yeah, like there was a guy who did a rant of like, you're not going to tell me to wear a mask while he's wearing his seatbelt, which is just like one safety precaution that you'll do, but you won't do the other one. Like what the pushback was when they first put seatbelts into cars.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. You're so right. Like that same person back when they first came out with seatbelts would be like, "I'm not wearing this. This is stupid." So like, it's the same mindset. But it's like I don't get it because even Joe Rogan, he got in trouble because he said like seatbelts are for pussies or excuse me,
Mask, yeah.
masks are for pussies. And it's like, bro, there's over 120,000 people in the US alone that died from COVID. That's two Vietnam wars because we had like 60,000 US deaths in the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
It's what like at what number would people have all agreed? Like does it have to be 500,000 for people to be like, damn, I should probably wear a mask? Does it have to be 1 million plus for people to be like, damn, I should wear a mask? Like what does it take? Like what would it take for everybody to agree? I don't get how some things become like contentious. It just seems, even if you take put aside the science of it, and we know the science of it is that masks are helping, but like put aside the science, just thinking about it logically, there's a virus. The way you get a virus is that it gets in through your nose or your mouth or your eyes. So put on some like sunglasses and cover your nose and your mouth, and you're probably going to be good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's the same thing with anything. Pants, socks, underwears, a t-shirt. Like, when did the first naked person get a pair of pants and was just like, I'm not doing this. I'm not protecting my dick. Like, I mean, like, at what point do you take it back to? Like, why do you put on clothes if you don't want to put on a mask? Like, why do you wear a hat if you don't want to get like sunblocked? Like, all of these things are preventing something. You know, like you're wearing clothes because you're going out in public and you're not allowed to be naked. But like if masks are mandatory, it's the same rules apply.
Now you're making me think about when human beings first started wearing clothes. And actually, were they humans at the time? Was it like a species before us? You know what I mean? Like in the
someone had to
evolution
put
chain.
something over their legs.
Yeah, and like how long ago was it? Like, are we talking 100,000 years ago? Was the first people to do it, or is it like 6,000, or is it like 100,000?
Well, I
To
think
put
it was
on,
probably like an evolution of the shit happening. Like I think the Native Americans probably wore some like type of just like robe shit,
yeah, but
and
it
then
was
it
way
evolved into
before Native
someone.
Americans. Native Americans is very recently historically. You probably got to go back to like, I don't know. I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder why. Like, yeah, was it just one person that was just like, I'm tired of seeing like penises, vaginas, boobies? Like,
Okay, here we go. Wait, I found it.
what? Like, why did people start wearing clothes?
No, I found the year. I was
Oh,
curious about when it started. The data shows modern humans started wearing clothes about 70,000 years before migrating into colder climates and higher latitudes, which
focus
began
on.
about 100,000 years ago. So 170,000 years ago. This date would be virtually impossible to determine using archaeological data because early clothing would not survive in archaeological sites. Okay, so they're guessing a little bit because they're saying there's no evidence because all the clothes that they would have worn are destroyed effectively because they can't survive
Yep.
over time. They like disintegrate and whatnot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But like between 100 and 200,000 years ago, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Jesus Christ. So were there like, you know, apes that were pre-human that were that were like covering up their dicks and shit?
Probably. I mean, but it was because the weather was cold, so there was like a
Eh.
health.
They just said not for that reason. They said
Oh, I thought they said it was because of the weather
the
being
data
cold.
shows modern humans started wearing clothes about 70,000 years before migrating into colder climates and higher latitudes. So they're
Oh, so they were
saying,
putting on clothes before the weather
yeah.
even was a thing.
So who I wonder why. Was there like some sort of other problem that they were addressing? They would go to sleep at night and they would be getting bitten by all types of bugs and mosquitoes, and they were like, I got to cover everything up, man. This is crazy.
But yeah, whatever the reason they put on clothes was was for some health benefit shit. I'm sure it
There's
was
obviously
because
a
they were
reason.
dying. Yeah, and it's the same thing now with masks. Like it's a safety precaution. So like, I think Rogan was sort of kidding, and like just saying it as a joke, but like, and I was on this train at first too. Like, I'm not wearing a mask. Fuck that shit. But like, at the end of the day, who cares? Like, if it's gonna help people or save people, like, who the fuck cares?
To be fair to you, you weren't saying masks don't work. You always conceded that they probably work. You were just saying socially, it sends off certain signals that you were like, I don't like that signal. So I get what you were saying, but yeah, ultimately, being pro-mask is simple. Like, I don't know how else to say it other than over 120,000 Americans are dead from COVID, over 2 million have it. And even if you say, well, statistically, I'm not likely to die from it, do you want to roll the dice? It's like with cars and wearing a seatbelt. Like, do you want to roll the dice? Sure, if you're very likely to not get into a car accident and die if you don't wear your seatbelt. But it might happen. So if all it takes is doing this, click, then like, what's the problem?
And like, but like, seatbelts, there's a law in place. So like, and here's my thing: if this shit is that serious, why isn't there just a blanket law in place to wear a mask?
It's interesting because I don't like. Where do you draw the line? Like, what's okay and what's not okay? Like, for example, you know how the government was saying, like, hey, all these gatherings, like, you can't gather in groups of more than 5 people and you got to, socially distance or whatever. At what point does it go too far? Like, should that just be an official recommendation from the government that they want everybody to follow, but they don't enforce it? Should it be something that they say, hey, it's a good thing to do this, and then if, like, a police officer sees people congregating in higher numbers that he goes, guys, come on, break it up a little bit? Or is it something that you fine them for? Is it something people go to jail for? Because there's a spectrum of like, how far is acceptable, like what's okay and what's not okay. And basically what we're seeing now is it looks to me like it's just a strong recommendation from the federal government, not even the federal government, more the state governments to wear masks. And then outside of that, you have like individual businesses that are like, you can't come in here unless you wear a mask. So it's more, instead of it being like one blanket federal law, it's just kind of like a recommendation at the state level and then a bunch of businesses saying we're not allowing people in who don't wear it. So it's like, it's sort of like a mix of different authorities saying, hey, you should probably do this. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know where I would draw the line in terms of like what I'm comfortable with. Like, do I want the federal government saying anywhere you go, you have to wear a mask at penalty of law? Like, I don't want to throw somebody in jail for that or necessarily fine them for that, but I do want them to wear a goddamn mask. So, like, what do we do?
Get a ticket. You get a ticket. It's the same shit as getting a ticket, a $250 fine if you don't have your mask on. And if a cop wants to write you a ticket for it and be a dick, he could do that. But a recommendation, in my opinion, from someone that I don't even know, like the government, is, I'm not going to listen to that shit. It's like it's the same shit with TV shows. Like, you recommend some shit to me and I'll like strongly look at it, but at the end of the day, I still might be like, nah, I don't got time to watch that. Or but if you hit me with some like, this is mandatory, you watch this Netflix shit, I probably still wouldn't watch that shit. No, I'm just kidding. I'd be more inclined to watch it than if you were just like, yo, check this out. And you're my boy. I know you. I don't know the government,
So, but now here's the thing. If you can get 70% of people to listen and 30% of people don't, it's like, well, we got 70% and that 30% wants to roll the dice. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be a certain percentage of the population that's going to hear a warning from a health agency and go, damn, I should listen to that. And my guess is it's probably a majority, like a slight majority of people. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're raising an important point. What do you do in a situation where people are like, no, I don't want to listen to that? Or a very high number of people are like, I'm not going to listen to that. And then how far do you go in enforcing it? I really don't have good answers to that. All I know is it's definitely the intelligent thing to do is wear a mask. I highly recommend everybody wears a mask when they go out in public and in closed spaces, But I don't know how I would enforce that. Like, I don't know what I'd be comfortable with enforcing that with, you know?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's interesting sort of being older now and, following you and following the conversation a little bit more closely and just understanding and seeing now how storylines change and how like the conversation changes. Like this morning I heard on the news, the lady was like, it's not a question about if you get coronavirus. Now it's just like, what do you do once you get it? And it was just like, the conversation is so different from when we first started. I was just like, you can't get this shit. You're going to die. But now it's just like, you're probably going to get it. But now what do you do with it? And it was just like, just hearing everything now and comparing to where we were. And obviously like we grow and we learn more shit about a virus or a disease or whatever. It's just funny how information changes that quickly from like the same person, I don't.
What's crazy is that it really is a uniquely American response, the way we responded, because we literally were just like, all right, forget it. Let's go back to normal. So like all this time everybody was listening for a while and like everybody was taking it super seriously. And then at a certain point, it's like the whole country was just like, fuck it, let's go back.
It's kind of what's up though, that at least for however long it was, we kind of as a country were all on the same page. Like there was a hot minute where we all overlapped and we're just like, let's beat this shit. And then like once we saw there was no finish line, which there never is a finish line, so like fuck anyone for actually thinking there was a finish line. Then that's when you saw like Trump people, non-masked people, like people like, yo, what are you guys doing? All hell broke loose. But like there was a hot second where with everything going on right now, Black Lives Matter, the George Floyd shit, just like the country falling apart, that could be your silver lining, is like maybe we could all come together because we did this shit at the beginning of coronavirus.
Yeah, but it all fell apart so quickly.
Yeah,
like
I know.
After like a month, everybody was just like, screw this. And it's on the left and the right. Like, yeah, there are a lot of Trump people who are like, masks are a hoax or whatever. There's a lot of Trump people who believe that. But there's a hell of a lot of people at George Floyd protests who are not wearing masks and who are like right on top of each other. So it's not like necessarily straight down partisan lines or anything. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, but it's crazy to watch it unfold because we just can't keep our stuff together. We just, like, Japan apparently never shut down their country like we did, like, how we kind of shut everything down. But all they did is, to your point, they basically made it so everybody wears a mask and, like, everybody does social distancing, I guess. I don't even know about the social distancing. I just know that they wear masks. And, like, as a result of that,
they've been wearing masks, like, they started that shit back in 88.
Dude, they weren't hit hard at all from coronavirus because of the masks. Meanwhile, here, we shut down, like, the entire economy, and then eventually we were like, whatever. And then everybody goes out, and, like, only a certain percentage of people are wearing masks. It's like, we handled this in the worst way possible. And I don't know if you heard about the Trump rally, but Trump, remember he was doing those daily press briefings about COVID, and he was, like, telling everybody, like, this is what the federal government is doing. Well, now he's back. He's back to doing rallies. He's doing rallies now, and his first rally was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The day before he did the rally was the record high number of cases in Oklahoma. Like, it was peak spreading there. And apparently 6 of the people who set up Trump's event, Trump staffers, tested positive for it. And now 2 Secret Service agents tested positive for it. Like, what are you doing? How do you do press conferences about this and, like, tell the country, like, this is what we're doing, this is how we're fighting it? And then at a certain point, you were just like, I don't even care. I'm going to go back to doing my rallies, where it's spreading at his rallies, and it's hitting, like, record high numbers.
Yeah, the virus is, like, looming over him. I remember when the dude from Mar-a-Lago, who was in the picture with him from Brazil or something, had it, and it came out. And he never got it. And it's on its way to Trump. If it's gonna find him soon. Like, the way he's putting himself out there and exposing himself to all this shit. I don't know his behind the scenes at a rally, but usually at a rally, you touch hands with the first row or something like that. I'm sure he's not even in contact with anybody, but he's got to walk past people. I mean, he's still in an enclosed arena with thousands of people.
That's literally the worst thing you could do is be inside with a lot of people. Like if you're outside and you're far enough away from people, it's totally fine. You're inside in an enclosed area with a lot of people, you're asking for trouble. The last thing they're going to do is open up situations like that, which is why even when like the NBA comes back, they're not going to have fans for the first long time.
That's why I was surprised to even see that that NASCAR had like 5,000 fans in the stand. Like, as good as NASCAR's been with, you know, supporting the guy Bubba Wallace and shit, they showed the fans and they had a packed stadium, and it was just like, I think the Talladega's in Alabama, which like there's no fucking rules in Alabama, so they're doing whatever the fuck they want, but like they still had mad fans in the stands. There was no social distancing space between them or whatever, but. The one thing that stood out with the Trump rally was that one interview with the guy before the rally who was talking to like MSNBC, and he said he knew somebody that had died from coronavirus and that he knew another person that got real sick from it. But then he finished his quote with like, but you don't know the facts of what's really happening with this disease. Did you see that clip of the guy?
No, I didn't, but that sounds crazy.
It's just like, those are the people that are in your Twitter mentions. Those are the people that you're trying to like debate. You're trying to like convince them of some reasonable shit. Like anyone who's still having conversations with these Trump lowlife supporters who are like showing up to his Tulsa rallies, like give that shit up, man. Like
so
social media. So many feelings on that whole shit.
Social media is still annoying you, I guess.
Social media in the sense that like, I don't know if this is a thing by Democrats to like low key try and get Trump reelected, but they keep like, yes, the arena was empty, you know, and like the steam sort of does feel a little bit different than like the Hillary. Like it seems like Trump's losing his steam a little bit, and it's just like a little bit of cockroaches left that are like the bottom like barrel losers that are really hanging on to Trump, that like they have no ties to anything. They don't have a girlfriend. They fucking are like just the creepiest human beings alive. These are the ones that are still wearing like Confederate flag shirts and are just like, they're holding on for dear life. They're the scums of the earth.
It's only his base. You're saying it's only his base that's left.
But like lower than his base, because I feel like there was even some normal people that would have fucked with Trump that even now are like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm saying that you're saying only his most hardcore supporters are left.
Yes, like the people with 4 teeth, the people that like don't know any of his policies. Those are the people that are still hanging on to Trump. So yes, it feels different than like maybe in 2016. But the fact that like people are still discarding that like this shit is over, that like, oh, TikTokers, 14-year-olds have bought all the tickets to his rally. Like, stop putting all this, like he still had mad people at his rally.
Yeah, but it really is different this time, man.
To like like they try to spin it, and they don't give him enough credit for what he's doing.
Nah, it really is different this time. Like I've been talking about this a lot lately. Yes, because I remember I was one of the few people who said in 2016 that he could win, that he could beat Trump. Everybody else, he could beat Hillary. Everybody else was dismissing him like crazy. And I was like, I don't know why these people are dismissing him. I saw the way he was running his campaign, and I saw that the polls were actually somewhat close. Hillary had a 2 to 4 point lead, but every now and then there'd be like one national poll that popped up that had like Trump +2. And I was always like, damn, like this is a race. But the difference is in 2016, he was focusing on real world issues. Like he was hitting Hillary for her corruption, and he was hitting Hillary for NAFTA and outsourcing jobs, and he was hitting her on the Iraq war, and he was posturing like the establishment is screwing everybody and I'm here to save the day. And it was potent. Like it was politically powerful. He was hitting like this populist note that I haven't seen a Republican hit in my lifetime. In my lifetime, like the Republicans almost rep the banner of we are for the status quo, we're for business as usual, we're for things not changing. Whereas Trump came along and Trump was kind of like, no, I'm going to change a bunch of stuff. And this woman right here is the representation of the status quo. So if you want change, you vote for me. And so I thought he was running a strong campaign. But this time, the stuff he's talking about is stupid. Like he's up there. He's the first, literally, and I know because I was looking at the clock because I was amazed by it. The first 12 minutes of his rally, he was telling the story about the slippery ramp he went down when he gave the West Point speech. And like, and then he was talking about the drinking the water thing. And so he drinks water with two hands. And like, so the problem is, Corin, he lost his political instincts. Now he's too caught up in the day-to-day fighting, and he's drunk on Fox News, he's drunk on One American News Network, and so he's leaning into these stupid culture war issues. Like, he talked so much about like the statues and tried to tie Joe Biden to Antifa, which is just insane. Biden is like a freaking moderate Republican, and you're trying to tie him to Antifa. So like, in other words, he doesn't have, when you have a pandemic with over 120,000 Americans dead, when you have a tumultuous uprising with bodies in the streets right now, when you have real unemployment being 20%, when you start talking about like statues and you start like crying about how the fake news media is mean to you, you just sound petty and narcissistic. So, and I think the country's just tired of them. They're just like, ugh. They just want to feel like everything is normal again. And so that's why somebody like Biden doesn't, that's the point, Core, is that Biden doesn't have to do anything. Like Biden just hiding in his basement and letting Trump hang himself. That's all he has to do.
Yeah. But, and I spoke about
yes, it can change. That's my little asterisk is that
no, that makes sense.
It's not like the current state of affairs is concrete and the race is already over. No. It's incredibly volatile and it can change. But right now, Biden is a pretty big favorite. Some things that could, change it. Any kind of medical emergency going in either direction could probably change it. Mm-hmm. A debate. Like if you have multiple debates, and Trump will probably do better than Biden in the debates. And so that could help Trump. But like right now, Biden's a big favorite, but it's not over. I don't want people to get cocky. I'm just describing the dynamic as it exists right now.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I was like cautioned by, was like seeing like people so happy that, these people who aren't even allowed to vote are, buying tickets to his rally and making it less people. Like, yeah, it's great. The overflow section wasn't full and like, but that's one rally. Like there's still mad people out there that support this guy. And like, at the end of the day, like, and I don't even know if he's helping like just upper class people anymore. Like he's probably helping people like at the top, like at some level that we don't even know them, like some billionaires, millionaires type of shit. But I don't even think just like upper class people are really getting the perks of Trump being president right now.
Well, they already got it in 2017. He did a tax cut bill in 2017 where 83% of the benefits went to the top 1% and to corporations. So like the rich already got their due because they always do.
So wouldn't they still fuck with Trump? Like there's probably a lot of people, and this is what I'm saying, that like still support him. They're just not going to say that shit. They're either quiet or like, yeah, they'll put the Black Lives Matter up and stuff like that, but he's still putting money in their pockets.
Yeah, but it's funny you mentioned this because somebody actually ran the numbers on this. And like in 2016, there was a secret contingent of Trump voters, which were like Trump supporters who weren't telling pollsters that they were pro-Trump.
Yeah.
But they crunched the numbers this time around. And even if that there was the same number of secret Trump supporters who broke his way, Biden would still win.
Damn.
See, that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to tell people is like Hillary was 2 to 4 points up on average going into Election Day. Biden's like 8 or 10 points up on average going into Election Day. And more importantly, because the national polls aren't that relevant, in the swing states, Biden's up in every swing state. So it's like Trump just has such an uphill battle. And it looks to me like he's desperate. Like he doesn't know exactly what to say or do. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't know exactly what strategy would work. So he's just trying everything at once and he just looks desperate.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like Hillary was just a big target that he could just keep attacking her and it was lock her up and there was so much shit.
He ran a good campaign against her, man. Like people don't realize that, but he really did. He really did.
And for all that we feel is bad about Biden, I mean, like, and we can go after him on a lot of things, but it's not as like glaring as Hillary's, or it's not as sexy as Hillary's, like
Well,
emails or
funny enough,
Benghazi.
ideologically, he's a lot like Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right that in terms of the perception of the public just likes him a lot more than they
Yeah.
liked Hillary.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like Hillary did have that thing where people just instinctively were like, ugh.
Yeah.
But Biden doesn't have that. Biden's got the thing where you just feel like it's Uncle Joe.
Yep. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. It's surprising that, and maybe I don't even think I don't know why Obama doesn't really push his shit even more.
He's been. I think he just started. You got to remember, Core. Obama's the reason why Biden won, because Obama, behind the scenes before Super Tuesday, got Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar to drop out and endorse Biden. And if Obama didn't do that, we'd be talking about presidential candidate Bernie Sanders running against Trump.
Yeah, which is, oh man, it's so. I wish. I mean, they
would
would
have
just
been. What could have been
there. But yeah, it's a little refreshing to see. And maybe just because it was Tulsa, I've never been to Tulsa, but I'm sure I can imagine every person in Tulsa looks like someone who was at that Trump rally. No disrespect to Tulsa.
You just massively disrespected Tulsa, and then you said no disrespect to Tulsa.
But like every person they show at the Tulsa Trump rally or like at a Trump whatever now looks like like the stereotypical person I would think of when I hear Trump rally.
Well, that's
just like belly coming out of their shirt, like Tom Petty shirt on, or
Tom Petty. He was a lefty.
I know, whatever. Just like the scums of the earth. So like anyone who's still trying to debate these people or talk to them or like hear me out, just give it up because it's not worth it. It's not worth our time.
Yeah, well, you're right that like the whole K-pop fans and the teens did like RSVP'd for tickets and they thought there were going to be way more. So they're part of the reason why turnout was probably so low. But it is also the case that I think a lot of the people who are pro-Trump might still be somewhat normal and be like, I don't want to get coronavirus. Like there's some percentage of Trump supporters who are like, I'm not going to go inside with a bunch of people right now. You know what I'm saying? Like they are out there. So I think that was another reason why turnout was low at the rally, is because there is still a pandemic and not everybody's a total moron.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like it's like goth kids. Like they like, I didn't really fuck with them, but if there was one thing I did fuck with them on, like I wouldn't be in their clique wearing all goth shit with makeup on my eyes and stuff like that.
What? I know you're trying to relate that to the hardcore Trump supporters, but I'm not seeing the connection.
Neither am I.
All right, well then let's talk about your golf thing because I'm excited about that. Corin is trying to pick up golf because he's realizing that he's an old ass man and that this is a sport that he could play forever if he gets into it. So you went to the golf range, the driving range for the first time. Yeah. And so tell everybody what that was like. How'd you hit it?
I mean, it was cool.
Was it grass or was it a mat?
It was grass. It was grass. The mat part was closed. I went with Molly, and Molly, she said growing up she had been to golf camp. She took golf lessons, and her parents had her playing golf pretty regularly. Her father, my father-in-law, was big into golf. He would play like every weekend and traveled around playing golf. And I don't know, I've always found it like interesting. But I've never really gotten out to play too much just because,
dog, it's easy to get obsessed with it. It's so easy to get obsessed with it.
And that's the thing. It's just like outside of golf, like I'm just trying to find time where I can, whether it's just sitting outside and putting my feet up and just chilling. Like I'm just looking for those moments to just like have some zen, like chill, like my alone time. And it was cool with Molly because she was on her mat hitting her ball. But like just having some alone time, some peace to like just hit the balls on the driveway. And golf reminds, like I can envision that's what it's like when you go out and play 18 holes. It's just like you're locking in, you're walking to your ball up like by yourself, thinking about your next shot. Like I think that's super important now, is just having a lot of like time to think, and like run through your own thoughts of how your shot's going to be placed, and just like using your mind a little bit more, whether that's through golf, just like meditating on your own or some type of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound too dramatic about it or anything, but I do exactly what you described, where I put my headphones in, I run it under my shirt, and then I put the headphones in, and then I'll be at the driving range and I'll hit shots. I'll just keep hitting, and like I'll listen to some music or listen to a podcast and just keep hitting shots and just kind of lock in and zone out. And it really is like a form of like therapy, because I could probably stand there all day and just hit away. And whether it's going to the driving range to practice, which is one of my favorite things, or going to actually play, which is a little more stressful because you're actually trying to make a score.
Yeah.
So like there is some degree of like, you're kind of like held accountable in some extent. But yeah, it's the best, because especially, when you've been playing it as long as I've been playing it, people don't realize how fun it is to have something where it's you versus yourself. Like that's what's fun about golf, is that it's really you versus yourself, or you versus the course. And it's not like other sports where somebody could bail you out if you're having a bad night. Like you have to find a way around yourself. And I love it. And the other thing I love about it is that in theory, it sounds so easy. Like just hit this ball over that target. It should be easy, right? It's just not. And so you like trying to find a way to do it consistently and a way where you can repeat it. Like you were telling me when you were hitting your shots, a lot of your shots go to the right. And then I told you to send me a video of it. And then, I'd give you some instruction. Next time I'm with you in person, I'll walk you through it more closely.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like technical things you were doing that made the ball go right, that if I make some adjustments for you, you won't hit it to the right anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how it works, that, people have patterns. Like me, I hit the ball left. You hit it right, I hit it left. I hit big draws, right to left shot shape, because of how, I hit the ball, the angle of attack and whatnot. So it's fun, man. And if you get into it, just wait. Like if you get bitten by the bug, that's what everybody calls it. You get bitten by the golf bug, it's a wrap, because you're going to want to do it. Like you going to want to go to the driving range like every day.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think that's the biggest thing is, I mean, like, I think it's just cool in the sense where, I mean, it's not like I have a gym where I can go, shoot the basketball or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
the gyms are closed still.
Everything's closed. And I think a lot of people are picking up golf now.
It's up. Yeah, golf is up all across the country. More people are playing.
A lot. I saw a lot of people shanking shots next to me at the driving range because they just looked like on some, like, I need to do some shit.
Yep, exactly.
This seems fun. Yep. A lot of people do it. I could get a thing of golf balls for. I was surprised at how expensive when I heard playing golf is, but like going to a driving range and getting a bucket for $9, $12, and just having like at the end, I was like almost like, damn, I wish I had a little bit less balls because this shit's been going on for a hot minute.
I was gonna tell you, if you get a large your first time out, you're asking a lot.
Yeah, but like. Yeah. But I think people are just looking for like a release. They're looking to do something, and golf like is cool in that sense where it's like head out to the driving range, hit some balls, and just have like you're outside. There's other people around you. It's it's safe because it's social distance.
Safe. You're far enough apart. Exactly.
100%. Yeah. But like that's my biggest thing is just trying to find like an outlet to just like do some shit outside and just like have. My thoughts.
You can't sit inside all day, man. This is something a lot of people are dealing with. Like, there's a lot. People are. There's so much more stress, so much more, depression, psychological trauma that's come about as a result of COVID because everybody's quarantined, everybody's inside, and yeah, like the idea of being inside for like a week and just watching TV for a week, that's kind of appealing. I could see that. Once you start getting to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Then it starts to become a little bit like torture because human beings are social animals and you want to do something. Yep. So, this is the exact kind of hobby that everybody recognizes is like the healthiest thing you could do because you can't go to the gym. I guess, no, I take that back. Because
gyms are opening up.
You could like go for a run or bike ride or something like that. Like that's healthier, I'd say, for sure. But it's something you could do. That's a sport. You could play the sport forever. And like, it's just the kind of outlet that I think everybody's leaning on at this moment. And I love that. I love to see that everybody's getting into it and recognizing how fun it is.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I don't know. I mean, I've always been interested in golf, but I don't know if it's just that there's the freedom to go out and just do that shit. And like, hopefully I get bitten by it enough where, I want to get good at it. But right now I'm still content with like hitting a nice shot and it just going super far, even if it's to the right. I'll be like, I wish that went straight, but it still felt good to just swing and that shit connected mad nice and went, even off to the right.
That's all you need, man.
Yeah.
That's all you need. That's all you need is one shot out of that whole bucket that you hit it, and it's like kind of like you envisioned, like kind of out of the middle of the face, maybe a little bit left to right shot shape. And just that one feeling, you'll go, damn, I want to do that again. And then
It's it's just weird because you see videos of scrawny ass kids that could just get up there and smack the shit out of it and it goes super far. And you're just
That's another reason I love golf. That's
you're
another
just like,
reason
how
I
the
love
fuck does
golf.
that happen? This kid's like 8 years old and he's hitting shots that are like going over fences. Like you can't even see where the ball, it's just skyrocketed.
And then you see I've seen this a million times. The guy who looks like he's on steroids who can't hit the ball at all. It's such a great game because it's like you see stuff like that all the time. You know what it is? As a general rule, the scrawny kids who could hit far, like you're talking about, they were started when they were like 3 years old by their moms and dads. That's why those kids could hit it really well, because by the time they're 8 years old, they've already been playing for years.
But it's not a strength thing, right?
No, it's not. No. It's really interesting because I've, had to think a lot about this myself. When I try to go at a golf ball harder, when I try to like rip a driver, it doesn't go any further. If anything, it might go a little shorter. And I was trying to figure out why that is. And I realized that when I try to rip at one, I start moving my body really fast, but that doesn't transfer into the club. Like the club is still moving at the same speed, but my body's like, getting into it more, And so I had to realize, like, no, if I actually just loosen my grip a little bit and feel like I'm swinging a little smoother, that's when more speed is getting to the club head. And then, then you hit the ball further. So it's almost like in a weird way, and this is something Jack Nicklaus said back in the day. Like, he said when he wants to rip one, he tries to feel like he's swinging a little slower because then you're transferring more energy to the club head and the ball's getting out there. So there's a lot of little things like that that are interesting in golf that are like counterintuitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, another one is that in order to hit the ball left, you have to kind of swing to the right. Like your path has to go to the right and vice versa. So you hit the ball to the right, that means you're cutting across it most of the time. So you're following through to the left too much. There's a lot of interesting stuff like that about golf that'll kind of blow your mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird how things work. I remember in CrossFit, like there was one kid who was like scrawny, not scrawny, he was definitely super strong, but he would lift the fucking like the craziest weight, and it was all about his technique, his form, and like that shit is so much more important than like strength. But like, I mean, maybe in UFC it works like that or something like that, but boxing, I feel like it's still you need strength because you could just knock somebody out. I mean. Listen, you saw it with Fury and Wilder. Like he had the strength, but Fury had all the technical shit.
Don't get me wrong. It actually, I don't want to oversell it. Like technique is very important, and it probably is more important. But power really could be just as important if you know how to utilize it.
Yeah.
Like there's this golfer right now, this pro golfer Bryson DeChambeau, who decided because apparently they tracked the stats on the PGA Tour. And they found out that the guys who drive it the longest always pick up more strokes on the field than the guys who don't. So the logic of that would be, okay, then yes, you should try to hit it as far as you possibly can while keeping it in play, right? Like you can't hit it as far as really far, but hit it OB every time because then you're taking penalty strokes and it kind of nullifies it. But anyway, this dude was 200 pounds when he started. He bulked up like crazy, son. He put on 40 pounds.
Damn.
40 pounds in less than a year. He's gigantic. And now he's hitting the ball further than everybody. He's the number one distance guy on tour now. And he's picking up 2 strokes on the field with his driver. So it's like both things are important. Technique is incredibly important. But yes, power is important.
It's like the Happy Gilmore shit. He would just smack the hell out of the ball. And then like he'd only have one shot left.
That's a movie. But yes.
No, I know. But like in theory, that's the same concept. It's just like you hit it really far and you have less shots to hit to then putt.
Yeah, what it is if you hit it really far, you have a shorter club into the green. You have like a wedge into the green. If other people are hitting their 7-iron, like
Got to do 2 clubs before
even a shitty wedge shot is probably going to get closer than a decent 7-iron shot. You see what I'm saying? Like the closer you are to the green, to the pin, the closer you're going to get to it on your next shot. So yeah, I don't know, it's really interesting, but yeah, I'm glad that you like it now, and I can't wait to go to the driving range with you, and we'll have some fun.
I'm excited, but again, I think just clearing my head and just like trying to stay sane with everything that's going on, whether, like it's anything I do to just, keep my head clear is
a lot of
I'm seeking that shit out. So if someone has like a dope thing they're doing, put it in the comments because I'll try that shit.
You're beating off a lot, I'm sure. A lot of nonstop beating off.
A lot of beating up? No, I don't. I mean, it's rare I find time to do shit, and it's almost like when I do have time to do something, I think about the time that I have, and then I end up not doing anything. So I'm like, I got an hour to do nothing. No, I got an hour to try and conquer the world. About. Yeah, but then I end up killing that hour just scrolling through my phone or something like that.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's why I like to just go. So for me, like I'll lay there, and then it's almost like I don't even let myself think about it. I just start getting up to go do it because like I have to force myself or else I just won't do it, and I'll do exactly what you're describing.
Oh, I still like Stephen Colbert Show. I haven't watched it in a hot minute, but I record them. But I've got so many recorded that I'm just like, I don't even want to attack one of these right now because it's just like,
then you're opening up the door.
Yeah, some other shit could be hot, and I'm missing that one. Like, so I fucking hate that feeling, man. It's like I might as well do nothing instead of doing the shit I should be doing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about with the recorded shows because now you're overwhelmed, and now you feel like, well, if I watch one, I got to watch like all of them, right? And you just don't have the time, so you're just like, I'm just gonna keep not watching.
I end up watching something I've watched like 40,000 times already. I'll like watch Cake Boss for like the 50,000th time when I should be watching some other shit that I recorded.
You put me on the show Pawn Stars. I thought that was and I was like, I stopped watching that too. But there was a solid like year-long span there where it would just be the default and it would just be on in the background type stuff, you know.
Did we go to Vegas together?
No, we actually were never in Vegas together. We went like a year apart, I think.
Oh, yeah, because I went to the pawn shop. I went to that place.
Yep, I remember you told me.
And then I still will watch American Pickers from time to time because I still like just seeing old, like old items they find in like weird people's barns or some shit like that. Like I find that stuff interesting. Like even when I find a T-shirt in my closet from like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something, I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I don't really do anything with it. Or I have like old stuff down in my basement and it's cool. And I probably could just donate it or get rid of it, but I just hold on to it.
Yeah, old stuff has an appeal to it. That's why, I've always liked old pictures, for example. It's just got a feel to it. It's just got, like, at the time when you're taking the picture, you think nothing of it. But then 15 years in the future, you look back at it and you're like, damn, this is crazy. Look at this picture.
That's something that kids now will never understand, like an actual old like picture. I mean, like now everything's on Facebook or Instagram and you can just like
on your phone.
Back. Yeah,
take pictures on your phone. Yeah.
But like when your parents pull out an old album of like pictures when you were like 6, 7 and you actually have that, yeah, you're right. It's dope. I mean, there's so much nostalgia shit. Like I was talking to Molly's cousins today because her cousin's grandfather had a picture of him wearing an FB hat. It was a FUBU hat. And I was like, yo, that's what's up. Like he's rocking a FUBU hat. And they're like, what's that? I was like, you don't know what FUBU is? I was like, that shit is for us, by us. Like that shit was
they started didn't know by, about like, FUBU?
Yeah, like they didn't know about FUBU. And there was
so how do they not know about FUBU?
I thought everybody knew about FUBU.
Me too. I thought that was like, it's like saying Coca-Cola. Like everybody knows what a Coke is.
FUBU was like the first black brand to like really pop off like clothing line. And I could be wrong on that. There probably was some other hot shit. But FUBU was like the first shit that was just like, when a white kid would wear it, you would sort of be like, "That's what's up." Like you're showing love, but also like that that line of clothing's like not for you.
No, I'm about to hit you with like the perfect mix. The FUBU for white people that white people could wear, but like the one that's a mix of like black people wear it, but also white people could get away with it. I'm
The
about to say it.
jersey?
Nah, it's Echo Unlimited.
Oh, like a clothing line.
Yes,
I never
clothing line.
rocked that shit. Because
I
it was
did.
almost like
I
if
had a
you're gonna
few
go
Echo
half at
shirts.
it, you gotta just rock the FUBU shit.
Nah. See, you're wrong about that. Like I sort of agree with you on FUBU that if a white dude is wearing it, it's a little suspect. It's a little bit like the black dudes would look at him like, "What are you doing?"
There was a
But
kid in our high
if you're
school. You remember
rocking
Jessica J?
Echo, you might even get dapped up over it. I'm going back to our high school years, man. I know I had like 3 dope Echo shirts that I used to wear.
I know one of them because there's a picture of us in it, and it was like a black one, I think.
I had like a black one with like a white
Yep.
thing, and then I had a black one with like a bright blue one.
Yeah.
All the shirts are the same. They just have the Echo thing and the.
Yeah, I know.
I had like 3 of them.
Echo had it wasn't a bear logo, right? It was like some like weird like unconjoining thing.
I'll look it up right now.
I never rocked Echo, but because Echo always reminded me of like North Face in a sense, where it was just like, I don't know why I didn't rock Echo, but
It's a Rhino.
yeah, I knew it was like some berry rhino type of shit.
Echo Unlimited. Yep, I remember these, man. I'm having nostalgia OD looking at these pictures.
But yeah, if FUBU really tried to change the game, and like that was like some pre Black Lives Matter shit. Like they really try to change the world with that.
They sold
They were on
well.
top of the world with it. Yeah, I think Diddy
FUBU
was
sold
like
well, man.
Yeah, and then it fizzled out though.
Remember when Eminem had his clothing line for like 2 years? Shady.
Was it Shady or Shade 45 was like his radio station,
No,
right?
I'm talking about it. He had like a clothing line.
I don't remember Shady.
Slim Shady clothing. Let me see.
Is that what it was called?
I think it was called Shady.
50 Cent had G Unit. Was like he had a popular line for a while. They had hats. They had, I think they did jerseys.
Clothing
they did
line.
shirts.
Oh, what the hell was it?
A lot of people had.
Yeah, it was Shady. No, hold on.
Nah, I think it was Shade 45 or Shade.
Nah, Shade 45 is a radio station, but I
think
swear
that's
to God.
Eminem shit.
Here it is. Vintage Eminem Shady Limited. Yeah, it's Shady Limited.
Oh.
They only had it for like 2 years. And it was only Jimmy who wore it. Our buddy Jimmy.
Yeah, I don't know. I never rocked Shade 45, but FUBU was the first one that like
Shade 45. It's Shady Limited.
Shade Unlimited. I never rocked it. I don't even know where they sold that shit. Nautica had a hot shit that like crossed barriers between black, white, Hispanic, everything. They used to have the Nautica jackets that were the shit. It was like a lightweight jacket and had Nautica on the sleeve. Those were dope.
Yeah,
I had a bright yellow one that I fucked with hard.
I had some Nautica stuff too. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Colognes were the shit. Like cologne, like any type of cologne.
I used to rock that Abercrombie Fierce.
Abercrombie. Do you remember Jupe? It was like in a pink bottle.
I do remember Jupe. I don't think I ever had Jupe. I never wore it, but I wore the Jupe. Abercrombie Fierce, and I wore
Cool Water.
No, I never wore that. I wore the Polo cologne.
Oh yeah, didn't you have the Adidas one too?
Adidas. I may have worn the Tommy Hilfiger one. I had
the Tommy, I think.
But I think the one I settled on that I wore the most was the Abercrombie one.
Yeah, that one. That one was like
people would be like, "Oh my god, I love that." But remember when you used to walk through the mall and you would get hit with the smell of the cologne from Abercrombie from like down the hallway and you'd be like, God damn, it's stinky.
It used to be smacking. And they used to have, did they have people like working that would stand at the doorway with no shirts on? Or was that just
for no reason? Yeah.
Like they worked with no shirt on, right?
Yes. They were models standing there with like chiseled abs and stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, that store. Fuck that store, man.
Yeah, OD fuck that store. I never really wore I had maybe like one shirt from there. I never really wore it. It was too like preppy.
Yeah. I think when I was super younger, I had a shirt from there or a pair of shorts or something. But there's like just stores and like, I don't know. I mean, everything seems so different now because everything's online and you could just shop. But like, even when I go to the mall now, it's like walking
Haven't been to
into
the mall in forever.
like walking into a store, and not to shit on people working in stores, but like when they ask you something, they're just like, "Can I help you find it?" I'm like, what? You should just be not like what are you doing? Like, let me just look around. That's just anything. It's just like, let me just fucking be. Let me just
There's gonna be
walk
a
around
time.
and be.
There's gonna be a time when malls are obsolete, bro.
It's
Like there's gonna.
it's coming.
It's coming within 10 years. Malls will be totally obsolete.
But you know what's crazy? In like 50 years, they'll probably come back and be the shit again.
I don't think so, man. Because everybody's so. If you think about it, sitting at home and just clicking to buy something is just so much easier. To the point where I feel like everybody's become a little bit like me. Like I was the OG on this, but now everybody's kind of low key copying me. To the point where they're just like, if my size is like a little off in one direction or the other, who cares? Like it's good enough.
Yeah, I'm sort of becoming like that too. Yeah.
People used to try stuff on before they buy it. Me, I'll look at a shirt and be like, all right, that one works.
I'm getting to that spot too where I used to like, cause I'm caught between a medium and a large, so I don't know like what I am sometimes, but now I'll just buy probably a large because I'm like, I'm gonna end up eating so much shit that I'm gonna be a large anyway. And that even if it doesn't fit, I'm like, who the fuck cares? Who cares? Jeans, I need them to fit a little bit better. I like them fitted a little bit more, but no one's fucking going out anyway. So like at the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah, jeans, I agree, are a little tougher because you want to have them fit the right way because there's a million ways that jeans could fit that are crazy, that are suspect. But like, yeah, for shirts, I have a bunch of shirts that are mediums in the closet, and then I have a bunch of shirts that are larges.
Yeah.
And I even have like a handful of extra larges just because I like the look of the shirt and they didn't have it in large. So I was like, I'll just buy the extra large and just act like I wanted to rock it this baggy and people could shut the fuck up.
I used to rock like triple XL t-shirts that like I found a couple probably years ago, and I was like, when I was like 12 years old, I was wearing this shirt. And I would put it on like when I found it, and it would be big as fuck. And I was like, I can't imagine someone half my size wearing this shirt. Like, how is it even physically possible without this like dragging on the floor? It's crazy. But that
I remember
baggy
you used to wear some like, big shirts. I remember that.
Well, like not even like I would get a Florida Gators shirt or a Knicks shirt and like XL, double XL, which is like Patrick Ewing would like wear that shit. It's just crazy.
It is sort of funny though, right? That like there was a time when you would rock that. There was a time when I first started working out where I wanted to show off that I was getting buff, and I would wear size mediums when I was clearly like a large, and so it would be tight and stuff. Isn't it weird how there were periods where everybody was just like, how about we wear shirts that are just way too big? And then there are other times when everybody's like, I'm going to just wear something that's way too small. It just shows you that, to go back to my original point, that's why people are shopping online now, and they're just like, whatever, it's going to be close enough if I just get this size. You know?
That's why it's like, we don't stick with one. We just get so bored. Like, we need to sort of convince ourselves of some other shit always. Like, even if something's going perfectly fine. Like, what was wrong with just standard working out, lifting weights, doing shit the normal way? Like, then, like, working out evolved into, like, Orange Theory classes and, like, these, like, 7-minute fast workouts. It's like, we keep changing shit because we're just bored. We have to figure out, like, how to improve it or get it better. But sometimes it's like, you don't have to.
Did you speaking of working out, did you hear what happened about the CrossFit guy?
Yeah, did he
Apparently
said something against like the movement or something?
Nah, he's accused of mad stuff, like sexual assault stuff now.
Oh, the guy Glassman?
Yeah, Glassman, CrossFit.
I mean, you don't. That's the thing is like, you become too famous, you become too big. People are gonna fucking like.
But
people are gonna find shit on you.
But this is one of those ones that it sounds like CrossFit and sexual harassment. The inside story: CrossFit founder Greg Glassman, 63, created a sexist workplace culture. Like, which is it? Is it that he's like a legit? You see what I'm saying? Is it like
that one?
Did he
seems
make
like
comments that were just like off-color comments, or is it like he did some really messed up stuff?
Yeah,
women,
then they could.
Women report getting lewd assessments of their bodies, among other mistreatment from top male management. I don't know, man.
Say the wrong thing or
I don't want to say the wrong thing either, but like, I don't like how everything gets grouped together now. How it's like, you know, you have like Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby, the worst of the worst, and then you have like a case like this where it appears like the claim is he said messed up things to women. Like, we don't know. Was he joking and then it was just not received well? You know what I'm saying? Because if you're charming and witty and you have the certain tone of voice, you can get away with saying certain things because people know you're being sarcastic or joking or whatever. And then a guy that this dude is not attractive, like, he says something and I can see women being like, excuse you?
Yeah.
So you just don't know. You just don't know.
It's such a slippery slope. And I also think like you could finagle any storyline and craft it to like the narrative that you want it to fit. Like, and portray someone in like a bad light. Like there was forgot what girl it was, but she was on like Jimmy Kimmel talking about how like Michael Bay, wanted her to drink at the bar in one of the scenes, but she wasn't 21. She was like 14 in this movie, and he was like, all right, so you could just stand under the waterfall and look like sexy there or something like that. And like everyone was laughing in the audience. Jimmy Kimmel made a joke, and it was like, no, like Michael Bay is probably like doing weird shit like other like Harvey Weinstein type shit. So it's like, but no one's picking that story up because I don't know.
Did you see the Chris D'Elia thing? The comedian Chris D'Elia?
Yeah, he always rubbed me as like some creepy weird guy. Like,
he
so
played
a pedo.
Me. He played a pedo in like 2 different shows. He played a pedo in the show You, and he played a pedo on the show Workaholics.
Yeah, but to me that doesn't like necessarily mean that like.
Well, it doesn't mean it, but obviously in retrospect he was trying to tell people something about himself.
Yeah, but just because you get a role doesn't mean that's necessarily your thing.
If he had it once, yes, I agree. He could have just been cast for that because he sort of looks creepy. When you get 2 roles as the creepy pedo dude, and then a story comes out that you're somewhat like a creepy pedo dude, like, that's not just a coincidence. He was dropping hints about himself in all these acting jobs.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Someone tweeted out, like, I'd be a little curious of what Louis C.K. is doing with his daughters because he always, like, weirdly jokes about them in his stand-up and all this stuff. And, like, it's almost like they're telling you right to your face what's going on. And it's like you laugh at these jokes, but in reality, like, there's really weird shit going on.
Yeah, and actually to the Chris D'Elia one, I don't know all the accusations against him because there seemed to be a bunch of them. But some of them were women who were of age, like they were legal, and they were consenting at the time, and now they turn around and they're like, oh my God, Chris D'Elia is terrible. They go, wait, you were of legal age and you were consenting, and now you're going to say it's bad? That strikes me as wrong. Like, I get it. If you're talking about somebody who's 15 years old and he's, creeping in her DMs or whatever, nah, can't have it. That's on him. That's creepy pedo stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're 18 or 19 years old, which is legal, and he slides into your DMs and you're flowing with him, and then you go meet up with him somewhere,
that's on you.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? And that's the other thing I don't like about this, which is, again, everything gets grouped together to the point where, like, sometimes there's legitimate, like, claims of sexual harassment or assault or whatever against somebody. Mm-hmm. But then in the same stories, they'll throw in cases of like somebody who had a long-term relationship with the person and now is saying stuff. And it's like,
yeah,
he was doing all these terrible things. And why were you in a long-term relationship with that? No. That I don't like. That I don't get. Because now you're blurring the lines of like, there's such a big difference between we were consenting adults and he's an asshole and it wasn't consent. And he's an assaulter. Like those are totally different things. And unfortunately today, there's no like clear distinction there. They just kind of throw everything out in the same story. Yep. And it's like, you can't know, like this one, you got to omit this one because it's not the same thing as this.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I take heat for saying this, but like the Ray Rice situation was absolutely terrible what he did, you know, but his situation is different than like other NFL players who are domestic abusers that like don't know like the woman that's been involved. Like he got help. He was, I don't know. I always defended Ray after the fact. What he did was wrong, but he, you know, I don't know. That's like there's obviously more to situations that I don't know, people.
Yeah, but that one was really bad, and
it was really bad.
He admits it was really bad.
Yeah,
like
but
he says, I was terrible for doing that. I shouldn't have done that.
But like he's educated himself on domestic abuse. Like he's, you know, he's now worked on his relationship with Janae, and they've grown past that. Whereas other situations, like people don't even know the female or something like that. Like Ray's worked to educate himself and get better and learn from that terrible incident, you know?
It's good that he did that, but yeah. I would say at the same time, that's not one of those things that in the immediate aftermath, anybody who's forgiven it is like, no, you can't do that.
No, I don't forgive him for doing that. That was fucking terrible what he did.
He's tougher on himself than his wife is on him.
Yeah.
That's, you know, and that's why I think now, like, there's been follow-up things where they've covered it and talked to him and talked to her, and it appears like, you know, the dynamic is totally different, and it wasn't a routine thing. It was a one-off incident that is evil and wrong and terrible and bad, but thankfully, like you said, he kind of rehabilitated himself. And that actually gets to the main, like the thing that happened with Joey Diaz, which you were talking about. You saw him ranting on Instagram the other day. He was on a podcast with Rogan, like, you know, 10 years ago or whatever, and he was saying how when he was a comedian, I'd make these girls suck my dick in order to get on stage or whatever, and they were like laughing about it and whatnot. And the thing is, they're taking that, and then everybody's upset about it, understandably. But do they not know who Joey Diaz is? Like, this dude is a absolute criminal. He admits it. Like, he went to prison for kidnapping.
Yeah.
Stop and think about that. He went to prison for kidnapping somebody. He openly tells stories about how he used to rob people. And he'll give you the specifics. He'll give you the details. He'll tell you the name of the person. He'll tell you how much he robbed. He'll tell you what he did. That guy tells everybody every single thing that he's ever done. And that's not to say that that stuff is good. Of course it's not good. It's terrible, it's wrong, it's evil, it's bad. But my point is, you can't take something and be like, oh my God. Because he's worn it on his sleeve forever, and he tells everybody in no uncertain terms, he says, listen, I was a piece of shit. Like, I was a terrible person. I did terrible things. You know, if you don't forgive me, I totally understand that. What I did was wrong, and there's no justification for it. And then now, without a doubt, he's a totally different guy. But yes, he tells everything about the terrible stuff he did back then. But people were like getting really mad at him for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough with like him or Rogan or anybody with their own shit, because it's just like they're their own. Like, your audience is who's gonna follow you. You know, you're not dependent on any, you know, big corporations or anybody like that you're tied to. You know, and that's what's like. Someone like Joey Diaz will be fine because it's like he's built his own, you know, fan base. He's got his own platform.
But yeah, that's what happened. Exactly. You know? See, that's the thing that they haven't caught on to yet. It's that you're only cancelable if you let yourself be canceled.
Yeah, and if anything, he's getting more like buzz from it. Like, he's getting more people finding out about him.
Interestingly enough, I saw him talk about it too, not on the Instagram Live, but on his podcast. Yeah. And he was like, you know, somewhat apologetic, and he was like,
yeah,
listen, I'm a piece of shit. Like, that was basically what he was saying. Almost like acknowledging and owning up to it and saying, like, I went to prison for kidnapping.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you're like that, yeah, his own people are going to defend him because they're defending the notion of a guy who's an open book, who's done terrible things, who admits that he's done terrible things. You can't, like, to take something and try to hit a guy with it when that's his character, where he already admitted to how terrible he is. Like, why are you doing that? There's no reason to do that. It's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, people, I don't know. People are just salty. It's almost just like whenever they feel you got some type of success or buzz, like if you sign a big deal, like, you know, they'll dig something up to try and cancel that deal. It's like no one wants anyone to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely part of it. But the thing that gets me is they would dig up a story like that, but they wouldn't, you know, play the video of him talking about how he kidnapped somebody, which is kind of crazy because, like, kidnapping is such a major crime.
Yeah.
And, like, he casually has told that story a million times, and nobody has ever tweeted that out and been like, oh my God, the guy's a kidnapper, now he's a comedian. Are you going to book him, you know, whatever room, Comedy Store, whatever comedy club? Like, how dare you book this guy? He's a kidnapper. So I don't get how certain things, like, is it only involving sex stuff that people feel the need to talk about stuff? Like, what if somebody admitted to murder or somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Not interested.
Somebody admitted to grand larceny. Would that just not blow up on Twitter because it's not sex related?
He said that on Instagram too. He's like, what do people don't know? If I robbed the jewelry store 15 years ago, he was like, statute of limitations, whatever. He's like, we went in there, we robbed the whole jewelry store. We got
That's what I'm saying.
What?
It's like people only focus on the sexual stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't get that because to me, if you talk about like this person's a murderer, or this person did grand larceny or whatever, my reaction is more shocked than like degenerate comedians doing degenerate comedian sexual stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Chris D'Elia thing, I wasn't even surprised by. I'm not defending it, by the way, but like I'm not surprised by it. I was like, yeah, that dude looks creepy as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like all these comedians, like their job is to be
creepy,
like working till 3 a.m. in dark rooms with drunk people smelling weed and cigarette smoke, and everybody's like gross at the end of the night, and you got a bunch of miserable people around you, and everybody's, you know, trying to fuck, and like that's what they do. So you're gonna tell me that creepy sexual stuff happened in situations like that? I'd be surprised if it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like breaking a news story like from a strip club. Yeah, something happened like that. Like, oh, the bouncer would sleep with the strippers and people would act surprised. It's like, no, I'm sure that happens a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing with the comedy clubs.
True. I think that's all I got, Core. I think that's all my stuff that I had on the list here.
I had one question for you about, did you hear, is there a thing about fireworks in New York right now, like going off? Are people pissed off about fireworks?
Yeah. Apparently, it's happened in the city. It happened by me, too, once or twice.
But they're saying it's happening at the same time, and it's like people are prepping us for, like, we're going to war or war happening here.
It's happening at the same time every night. It's happening in the city. But here, for me, it happened once, too, and it woke me up. Like, I had just fallen asleep, and I heard the fireworks go off, and I, like, immediately popped up. And it's funny, because when you hear a noise like that really close to you when you're sleeping, you immediately, like, wake up in, like, fight mode.
Yeah.
Like, I woke up, like, thinking it was already, like, an asteroid hit or somebody's trying to rob me or whatever. Yep. Like, I woke up, like, rattled. But, yeah, that's happening in the city all the time. And, you know, who knows why the hell it's going on. I have no idea how or why it's happening, you know. But now I think it's become, people are going to keep doing it just because now it's a story, you know.
Now it's a thing, yeah. Yeah, it's weird because we have like a neighborhood like Facebook group that Molly's in, and like someone was saying like, do people hear the fireworks going off? And like, I didn't think about it twice. I just thought we're getting close to 4th of July, and like I live by Wisconsin where you could buy mad fireworks. So like, I didn't really think too much about it, and it like, you hear it, but it doesn't really bother me. But then someone told me that like in New York, it's almost like this like it's happening at the same time every night, and it's almost like this like scripted thing that keeps happening. Like it's like, and then they even went as far to say that like it could be like the government preparing us for like, you know, what like some bombing shit would sound like in our backyard. So I don't know. I think it's not hard to have like a group of people from every borough like just be like, yo, 8 o'clock every night, let's set off our fire alarms. Like,
yeah, and then again, once you do it enough times and one person writes a story, like a cryptic story like that, then a bunch of people are going to pick up on it and keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just to keep the myth going, the legend going.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you can't, I'm sure there's some pets that probably get thrown off by it, but like, at the end of the day, you can't really do anything about it. You got to just fucking turn your TV up louder.
But if it wakes you up like that, then I'd be pissed. I'd be like, I listen, I hate to say it, but I don't know why anybody wants to live in the city. Like, why do you want to live in the city? There's just too much going on. People are all on top of each other. That's why when COVID hit, New York City got absolutely obliterated because people are living all up in each other's faces, smelling each other's farts.
It is sort of weird, right?
Breath. It's gross, man. Like, spread out a little bit, dog. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Why do you want to live there? And then now you got people setting off fireworks and whatnot late for no reason.
It's just so much people to try and control if you're just trying to chill. Like if you're just trying to go about your business, you can't not have some confrontation or like bump into someone or someone from your building be throwing something in the oven and the shit catches on fire. Now the whole building's on fire. And you just been going about your business doing everything perfectly fine. But because Rick upstairs wanted to go like take a dump while he had his pizza in the oven, and now the whole building's on fire. Your shit gets burned down. Just move to the suburbs. Move to fucking Montana.
And people choose to live in that situation. I mean, a lot of people got to do it for work, so they get a pass. You know, I forgive them. But everybody else, what are you doing?
There was one guy that I knew that said he wanted to like raise his kids in the city because you get like some type of swagger with you. You know, you learn the train system and you learn about like so many different ethnicities.
Yeah, you also breathe in disgusting polluted air 24/7. Congratulations, you know the subway system.
Yeah, I wonder if if there's a shorter lifespan for people who live in the cities versus the suburbs.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like I would guess yes, because
I would say so too.
And the same thing for people who live right like on highways, like right on the highway, because the air that you're breathing in with all those fumes is not good for you.
Yeah, my brother's backyard is right off the highway.
There was a story years ago, a study that came out that found that places that had a lot of, you know, when there used to be leaded or unleaded gasoline.
Yeah, isn't it all unleaded now?
Now it's all unleaded, but there was a time when it was leaded or unleaded. You had to pick. And the leaded gasoline, when people, you know, use that, lead particulate matter would be in the atmosphere, would be in the air. And so when people would breathe in, what they found is places where there was a lot of the lead residue in the air, the crime rate was sky high in those places. Sky high. Because they found out that the more that you breathe in, the more impulse control you lose. So like it was like almost like a long-term poisoning of a bunch of people. Yeah, it's crazy. And then they banned the leaded gasoline and the crime rate dropped massively.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It's absolutely insane.
I'd have them look into that shit in like Chicago or something like that. If like, you know, on the south side or like
Chicago, I think there's an issue with just gang violence there with, you know, drug money and stuff. Like there's a lot going on, but you can't fix it overnight. But, you know, I think it's pretty clear that what you need is massive investment, jobs, decent
Trump
wages.
I don't know if this is true or not, but like Trump was like, he wants to give another $1,200, but would someone like shot him down or like?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like Trump's people who surround him are all regular Republican people. And so
he definitely doesn't want to. He just knows it. Like if he says it, and then
I believe him.
You think he really does?
Because he wants to get reelected. He'll do anything to get reelected because he's that much of a narcissist. So I have no doubt that he was probably like, I think it's probably a good idea if we do another round of stimulus checks. And then the people around him, the Republicans, who are the worst people in the world, are just like, we're not doing that. It's like when he says, like, he'll wake up in the middle of the night and tweet, like, we're going to get out of Afghanistan. Being in Afghanistan is so stupid. And then the next morning, his generals were like, we're not going to do that. We're going to stay in Afghanistan.
See, I think he's on some chess shit where, like,
he's an idiot.
I know, but I think I think he's smart enough to be like, yo, I'm going to say, like, everybody gets the $1,200, but I need everybody else to just be like, no, we can't do that, sir. Almost like I really want to go to your house party, but oh man, I'm telling you, man, my wife's saying that, you know.
But the problem is very few people are going to read that story. Like, people would only start giving Trump the credit if he sent another check.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't send another check, nobody's going to give him credit for trying. People got to pay the bills. There's no A for effort in this.
It's just so crazy because if he just, like, were to just come around on whatever, like NASCAR actually picking up the Black Lives Matter movement and, like, really being woke as fuck right now, they're mad popular.
Yeah,
but like before, no one was fucking with NASCAR.
They already messed up though a little bit. Well, they didn't mess up, but you know that story about Bubba Wallace and the noose?
Yeah.
Well, apparently the FBI just said they investigated it, and that wasn't a noose. That was the regular garage thing that you used to pull down to open it.
No way. I thought they just said it wasn't a hate crime. Is
right.
That what they said?
And they went on to say that the rope that they use has been there for years, and it's the thing that you pull to open the garage up and then push back up.
Is that true?
That's what it says. That's what they say. They could be lying. I mean, I don't trust the FBI, but, you know, is it possible that, you know, Bubba Wallace was a little overzealous there and he was like, oh my God, this has got to be what it is. And it's just like, nah, man, that's not what it is.
That would be crazy. I didn't hear that. I heard that the FBI investigated and just saw that it wasn't a hate crime. That would be nuts if he's, I mean.
Well, and a lot of people said it at the beginning, and even I mentioned it. I was like, I hope this is not another like Jussie Smollett type thing. Because remember, Jussie Smollett just
yeah, that was OD. His whole situation
made up everything.
Well, I mean, it seemed fishy to me just because how the fuck could someone get into the garage shit without anybody seeing who it was that they don't even know who it was? Place that shit in there. And I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but like, it's hard that there's no cameras in the garages where all the cars are at that they can pick up who did that.
I mean, listen, if they really looked into it and they said this is what it was, I mean, it's possible. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if there were many people who were really pissed at him for what he did, where he told them, I don't like the Confederate flag, you should probably ban it, and then they banned it. They blame him for that. You know, so I just think Trump could shake up the whole thing. Like if he came out tomorrow and was rocking like a Black Lives Matter t-shirt, like I just would be so curious what would happen. Like the world, like what would happen? Like, and he could do some weird shit like that. Like he could come out on stage with a Black Lives Matter shirt. Nah, he had the
fist up and just be
like,
he had
the leeway. If he wanted to go left on economics, he could have done it, and his base would have loved it. But if he goes left on like social issues, race issues, his base will turn on him.
Well, like he could get reelected if he was just like cancel all student debt and turn into like some Bernie Sanders type shit.
Yes, he could. That's right. If he stepped up to the plate and was like, all right, listen, everybody's getting covered with healthcare. We're doing Medicare for all. We're canceling all the student debt. We're giving a UBI $2,000 a month every month for the rest of this crisis. He could get reelected that way, but he's not going to do it. He can't do that. Too many people around him would just be like, we're not letting you do that.
But he could override that shit, man. I wish I could just like send him a text message like, yo, just do this shit and you'll be good money. What if someone texted you like his phone number? He's got a phone number.
Believe me, I don't want to talk to him and he doesn't want to talk to me.
Do you think he gets random texts? Like, do you think the president is on some like, can he get a robocall?
I'm sure he can. Who knows?
I'd be curious, like, because, they probably block all of his numbers or whatever like that. They have like some crazy.
With him, you never know. I remember he was using like an unsecured thing for a minute, and that was a news story for like years. I don't know if they changed that though.
Some like flip phone shit, right?
I don't remember. It was something that he was using that he wasn't supposed to be using, And then you made the point before, like you could tell when he's tweeting and when he's not tweeting because it'll say like Twitter for iPhone and then the other one is like Twitter for Android or something.
Oh,
And
really?
so one of his staffers had like an Android or whatever, and every
yeah.
time it said that, it was from that phone and vice versa. So
I got one question about how do they close like 95% of polls in Kentucky? Like, how is that even a thing?
I have no idea. I was looking at that too, and I was like, how does this happen? How does this happen? It's got to be nefarious on some level. Like, there's got to be some attempt to suppress the vote. Has to be. Or else why would you close 95%?
Yeah.
There was one polling place for all of Louisville where most of the black voters are.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's
there was a video that they closed at 6, but there was mad people still waiting to vote. And then, like, I think a judge allowed them to vote.
That's right.
Mad people came in. And they were all black. Like, so they were all not going to vote for Mitch McConnell.
Well, it's
not Mitch McConnell. It's the lady.
Yeah,
versus
Charles
him.
Booker versus I forget the other person's name, but yeah, Charles Booker's good. And then you have the pungent races in New York that are interesting. Jamal Bowman won. You have Mondaire Jones, who's the one who I voted for.
So some people are winning, or
I don't know yet. I don't know. I'll take a look as soon as we're done with the podcast. But as of right now, I'm not sure.
Damn, crazy times.
So, all right. Well, on that note, we love you guys.
I don't even know what we spoke about.
I'm gonna go look at some election results.
I'm going to go turn into a goth person because I think the point I was trying to make probably made people scratch their head a little bit.
You lost me on that one. Usually I could follow where you're going.
Myself.
Usually I speak Corinese. I could deconstruct whatever you're saying, and I lost it on that one.
Trying to say, like, even if you agree with one of their points as like being gothers, you wouldn't, join their group. Like, you wouldn't.
Okay, so you were trying to connect that to Trump. Even if you agree with something he says, you wouldn't join that crazy group.
Yeah, because because they just look like some totally different shit.
Got you. All right,
shout out to Maddie. It's her 23rd birthday. She wrote on my Twitter. She wanted me to say happy birthday.
All right, Maddie. Happy birthday. We love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Stay safe out there. Peace.